Imagine meeting someone who claims to be from a country that does not exist. You'd probably think they are either confused, lying to you, or just insane. But what if I told you there's a fourth possibility? What if they are telling the truth? But how is that possible, you might ask? Well, that's where parallel realities come in. You see, according to the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, every time a decision is made, whether by a person, particle, or the universe itself, reality splits into parallel universes. And in each one, a different outcome plays out. So, while you chose to watch this video in our universe, in another maybe you didn't. This is a mind-boggling theory that suggests there are an infinite versions of reality, where all possibilities are being played out simultaneously. So, that person who claims to be from a country that doesn't exist, they might just be from a parallel reality where that country does exist. And somehow, they might have crossed over to our reality where it doesn't. This is seemingly what happened to the man from Taured, a visitor from another universe who arrived in Japan in 1954. It was a hot day in July 1954. Tokyo's Haneda airport was operating as usual. Flights landed, people hurried to their destinations. The usual chatter filled the space. And then, he came. A well-dressed man, middle-aged and Caucasian, made his way to the front of the line at the customs. He looked European, spoke French fluently, and also Japanese. There was nothing unusual about him, until he handed over his passport. The customs agent was baffled. The passport was issued by a country called Taured, but he had never heard of such a country. He checked the passport to see if it was fake, but everything about it looked authentic. It was complete with visas and stamps from previous travels, France, Spain, Germany, all in order. The agent called over a colleague to take a look. The second agent had also never heard of Taured. So, they asked him to point it out on a map. The man confidently pointed to an area between France and Spain. But the area he was pointing to didn't show Taured. It showed the country of Andorra. This is when things got weirder. The agents took the man to a private room to get to the bottom of the issue. They told the man that the country of Taured didn't exist, and the place he was pointing to on the map was called Andorra. Hearing this, the man got visibly annoyed. He insisted that Taured had been a country for over 1,000 years, and he had never heard of Andorra. He showed them his wallet that contained currency notes from several European countries and also from Taured. It even had his driver's license, issued by Taured. The agents examined the notes and the license, and by all accounts, they looked real. But how could that be? Taured didn't exist, and neither should any passport, currency, or license from there. Sensing their disbelief, the man told the agents that he had traveled through that very airport twice that month, and he never had a problem before. Of course, this was easy to verify. The agents looked at his passport again, and yes, the stamps were there, and they looked authentic. However, the man was also carrying traveler's checks, which were issued by a bank that didn't exist. This didn't support his cause at all. To clear the matter once and for all, the man asked the agents to call his office in Tokyo. The call was made, but the company said they had no record of him ever working there. Hearing this, the man looked stunned, as if reality had shifted under his feet. At this point, the agents were pretty suspicious of him. They suspected that he might be a spy or a criminal, but they also didn't know what to do exactly. So, they confiscated his documents and currency notes and detained him. They gave him a hotel room for the night near the airport, outside which 2 guards were stationed. The rest of the day went pretty quietly, but by morning, the man had vanished. The hotel room was locked from the outside. Guards swore they never left their posts, and the windows, they couldn't be opened. What's strange is that the room looked totally clean. The bed was made, everything was in its place, and there were no signs that someone had stayed the night. Back at the airport, the authorities were still investigating the matter. When they went to retrieve the man's documents that they had confiscated, they were shocked to see that everything had disappeared. This made no sense because the documents were stored in a secure room, and no one had access to them except the officials. The man and his papers had disappeared from 2 different locations. It was as if he had never existed at all. So, what really happened? Some say it was a clever hoax. They believe that the man was an undercover agent, and his passport and other documents were faked to conceal his true identity and country. Such an agent could have easily disappeared from the hotel room. But this doesn't explain how his documents disappeared from the secure room, and why wouldn't he just fake documents from an existing country? Others believe he was a visitor from a parallel universe where Taured is real. For whatever reason, he slipped into our reality during his flight. And when the universes corrected the glitch, he and his belongings disappeared from our reality and back into his own. So, is it an urban legend? Or a lost truth hidden in plain sight? The man from Taured leaves us with more questions than answers. What do you think? Was he a time traveler? A visitor from another dimension? Or just a really convincing con man? Let me know in the comments below. And if this story made you question reality, even for a moment, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I am the boy who ponders, and I'll see you in the next mystery.